Briefly, I want to explain why it's important, other than the principle of democratic accountability, why we make GPEX more accountable to its members. During the latter stages of the European election campaign earlier this year, the Green Party executive focused many of its resources, of the national resources, onto London, even when it was obvious to most outside observers and most members of the Green Party, and most people involved in the European election campaign, especially on the ground, as I was, that we were very much likely to re-elect our MEP, and that we should definitely focus upon winning our targets. Now, in any other organisation, when you set targets, when you say, this year we're going to grow by this much, or this year we're going to win this number of seats, or this year we're going to earn this amount, increase our resources by a certain amount of money. If you hit those targets, you're considered to be successful, and that's a good result. If you don't hit those targets, that's a bad result. And I don't see why we shouldn't consider the Green Party any differently than we would in other organisations that we may have worked upon. We have to be professional and hold ourselves to the same standards that everyone else would hold themselves to. Now, had the Green Party executive decided to give more money to the Northwest region, or to the Southwest region, or to the Eastern region, the results of the votes in those regions suggest we could have elected MEPs in those regions. Now, that would have really changed the national situation of the Green Party, electing a few more MEPs. As it is, we didn't elect any more. The BNP, especially in one of our target regions in the Northwest, now have as many MEPs as we do. That's the BNP. And UKIP have 13. I believe, and there is a debate to be had, and hopefully this is a debate that my campaigners try to provoke, because I think it's an important thing, again, because we find ourselves in between elections, on the precipice of achieving something very spectacular, something that the party has never achieved before next year. We have to ask ourselves, was this a bad result? And I said, I believe it, yeah, I believe it was. And I believe partly why the reason why GPEX made incorrect decisions about how to allocate resources to particular regions was because GPEX isn't accountable to its members. Members, on the first hand, don't really know what GPEX does. They don't know how it makes its decisions, they don't know why it makes its decisions. And even when there are minutes, they often aren't publicised in advance. And at the end of the day, most members are still, you can put the minutes up there, most members won't read them, most members won't know what's going on, they won't be kept informed, they won't keep an interest. And if you want proof that most people don't really take an interest in the party, don't take an interest in what GPEX does, it's this really low amount of candidates that we've had for the internal elections. Apart from the suspended election for external communications, this is the only one that had 2 candidates for it. So the 3 ways I, as chair, would implement operationally to make GPEX more accountable would be to film GPEX meetings, as we're filming this debate now, and post them online on the secure new members website, with minutes for those that want to read them, the day after they happen. This will obviously exclude confidential matters like staff line management. I would also host a live chat, a web chat, on the members' website once a month for GPEX members to log on and for members to be able to directly ask questions to GPEX, something that doesn't really happen because we just have meetings once a month and that's the only opportunity for people to attend and question GPEX, and that's the only real structure, and if they can't attend, they can't question, then that's not democratic. And I believe, again, like with filming it, GPEX members should be prepared to say whatever they say at those meetings in front of the entire membership to who they are accountable to. And I would also email membership every fortnight with a brief video message about what the Green Party is doing across the country and how members can help out wherever they are. I've seen this used to great effect in other political campaigns, like the Obama campaign in the American election in 2008, the very specific and targeted use of email to encourage people to get involved. The second area that I've identified for change, and 3 areas I've identified for change, regarding a long-term strategy. I don't believe the Green Party presently has the correct long-term strategy. And again, this is something that, in order for GPEX to be doing its job properly, and myself as chair, if elected, to ensure that GPEX does, this is something we're going to have to consider. And I believe that all bets are off. At the end of the day, we didn't win MEPs this year. It's always part of political strategy that you move from momentum to momentum. We should have elected MEPs this year. Now it's going to be very hard to convince people, convince the public, convince the media that we can win MPs next year under much tougher circumstances. We had great circumstances this year. The expenses scandal giving people a real reason to vote against bigger parties and vote smaller parties. We still couldn't do it. We have to question our strategy. Now, one of the ideas that the current GPEX chair and GPEX collectively have endorsed is the idea that we should stand as many candidates as possible, not simply to give as many people as possible to the opportunity to vote Green, but in order to try and achieve a target of 1 million Green votes. The idea being that you stand as many candidates as possible and collectively the votes would add up to 1 million, or a great deal, so that either if we elected one MP or we didn't elect one MP, we would still be able to claim a mandate for our ideas because 1 million people voted Green, or 100,000 people voted Green, or 100,000 people voted Green. Now, 1 million votes, even if it was 1 million votes, that's 1 in 60 of the British population, or 1.5%. That's not really a mandate. So I don't think we should be tilting windmills. I don't think we should be chasing dragons. I say, let's focus on what we know works best, target to win. Now, both candidates agree that we should focus upon our selected general election constituencies, the three in Lewisham, Brighton and Norwich. But I say, let's think about how we can increase that number and use this general election as an opportunity to increase that number. The changes I would call for in this particular area are to match up local parties across the country, for whichever one of the target regions, the target constituencies they're nearest to, so we can. It's easier to arrange for activists to come and help out there. Now, of course, after a certain point up north, none of the target constituencies can be considered nearby, and for those particular regions, and again for all particular regions, all parts of the country, I, as chair, and I would again float this idea as an equal idea among many. Open up debate as I have been in this campaign, by putting my ideas out there on the internet, asking to comment, going to see people across the country. My idea will be to have a system of IOUs. Now, what that means is that if people, this is one idea, if people from, let's say, Newcastle come down to help out in Brighton or in Norwich or in Lewisham, they will get an IOU. So we have a great deal of experience in activists in Lewisham, Brighton and Norwich. Now, after the general election, those experienced organisers can go to Newcastle and help them get off the ground, to help them win council elections next year. That's a way of encouraging people to help out. In general, I don't think we should be standing lots and lots of general election candidates. I think we should be focusing on a smaller number, and I think we should be focusing our resources, especially when we're asking local parties to raise the deposits to stand these candidates, and most of those deposits are going to lose. We will lose those deposits. I believe it's important to when local parties raise that money, to spend more of it on trying to win council seats. Because the way Target to Win works is that we win more council seats, win more council seats within a particular constituency. Over time, that turns into a target general election constituency with a real shot of electing MPs, as we do in Lewisham, Brighton and Norwich. And the other particular area of change I would have is to raise extra funds at national level and at local level, ask local parties to contribute at a regional collective to employ a part-time paid regional organiser in each one of the 10 European election regions that we contend, so that it really helps to have a member of staff there that someone can just, even if it's part-time, a regional organiser that can help local parties in that region grow their strengths. We have to think about how we're going to do things in the long term. So those are two particular areas that I would call for change. I do believe the Green Party needs vision. I think it needs the correct analysis. I think we have to be honest that the result in the European elections were bad, and that we have to change if we want something different next year, a better result. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Rael.